Organizing the CAA-500 Mark II analyzer from Comet in a hard case go box? That's what's coming up next on LCARA Ham Radio. All right, well, we did a previous video on the Comet analyzer here. This was donated to LCARA by Comet, and we greatly appreciate their help for the purpose of giving it away for our 5,000 subscriber landmark. So we really liked the analyzer. We did the review on it, and we decided it deserved to have a nice case to go with it to help protect it for whoever ends up winning this through the giveaway that'll be announced a little bit later. So we got a nice hard case for it with a custom nameplate on it. We also got a few accessories for the Comet to go with it. It's always handy to have some adapters. We got a nice adapters that come in a padded case. You can kind of see there. We have this hard case. It's similar to the 2800 from Harbor Freight, the Apache 2800. It's a little different brand, but we just wanted to get the blue color since blue is one of our primary colors for the club. So we wanted to make a nice sort of a kit with this. And again, the whole purpose of this is to give it away. Again, it was very generous of Comet to donate this to LCARA so we could do that. So since we sort of had some extra budget, we decided to put it into a case and some accessories and things. So we just kind of wanted to show the process of putting this kit together for the giveaway. But this is the kind of thing that a lot of us like to do for our own equipment. We kind of showed this a little bit in a previous video. And we've done previous videos on making go kits for our radios, for our handy talkies, all kinds of things. It helps keep your equipment organized. It of course helps to protect it from the elements, from dust and things like that. And you can get these kinds of hard cases for not really that much money. So if you invest in a nice piece of equipment like a radio or an analyzer or something, for a lot of us, it's worth spending a little bit of money to help store it and protect it safely so that we can get many years of use out of it. So we just kind of wanted to show a little bit of the process here of having the case, that has that what's typically called pick and pluck foam, where it's a little half-inch squares, I believe, and you can pretty much customize it to almost any kind of size and shape of equipment or whatever that you have. So we just wanted to show a little bit of this off, and then also some of the components that we're putting into this kit. And keep in mind that everything you see going into the box here is going to be given away. The analyzer, the adapter, the set that you're going to see, you kind of see the little square black case there to the left of the screen. You'll see it going into the case here in just a little bit. We also built a custom low-power dummy load that you can use to check cables and things. And we're actually going to show the process of building that in sort of the second part of this video. And so all that's going to go into the case. You can run this analyzer, like many of them, with an external power supply. You'll see us using an external cable that has Anderson power poles just to make it convenient to hook up to a 12-volt battery. Now, the unit does come with a power cable, but it just has bare leads on it. But you could certainly easily enough put Anderson power poles on there if that's how you like to connect to power supplies and batteries and things. But we left that up to whoever's going to win this unit. They can deal with that however they might like. But you can also run this unit off of rechargeable or alkaline AA batteries. And so we went ahead and purchased some rechargeable AA batteries, some NIM, nickel metal hydride batteries. So whoever wins this kit is going to get, it takes 6, I believe, but of course the batteries came 4 in a pack. So you're going to get 8 batteries. You'll see those here in a little bit. And they're a nice brand. They're a name brand. So you get the batteries, you get the unit, you get this. This is the adapter kit that Club President Don AC40M is working to put into the foam there, and he's carefully cutting the foam with his pocket knife. You can rip it apart, but just to help make sure the cuts are just neat and everything, he likes to use a pocket knife to help start everything. And since the adapter kit is a little bit taller, but also already padded, we went ahead and cut out a little bit of the very bottom layer of foam just to help it fit into the case a little better, because those adapters that really didn't need that little bit of extra padding right there. And it's just kind of the things you do if you like to put equipment into these kinds of cases. So again, we wanted to to do something pretty nice for somebody for this giveaway for the club, because again, hitting 5,000 subscribers, it means a lot to us. We greatly appreciate all of our club members. We greatly appreciate everybody who supports us, through the channel, through subscriptions and comments, and we do have merchandise sales. Some people buy shirts and patches and things for us. And we greatly appreciate all that. We like making the content, and we like enjoying the hobby, and just sharing some of that as best we can, with folks on YouTube and other channels and outlets. So again, you can kind of see the case there. Just getting some nice, neat cutouts for the components that we're going to be supplying with this kit. You can see the double layers of foam have been cut out, and the unit fits in there very nicely and snugly. Because, with these units, anything that has those analog type displays, you want to be kind of careful with them. You don't want to bang them around too much if you can help it, because that can damage the analog meters and other things potentially as well. But having a nice case like this, again, it helps keep you organized and keeps your equipment clean and handy. So again, he's finishing up the top layer there for where the adapter kit's going to go. And then as you'll see here in just a little bit, we're also going to make a little low power dummy load. It's 50 ohm and 15 watts. So you can definitely check cables and things. Obviously the analyzer doesn't put out much power, so it didn't have to be a high power type of dummy load. But there's also a little bit of room. You can kind of see that bottom right corner. There's a little bit of room left over, so you could put a couple of extra components in there if you want to, if you're the lucky winner. So here's the Duracell batteries, a nice name brand, and they are rechargeable NIM batteries. So you're going to get 8 of those with the kit. Again, I think it takes 6 at a time. Now here's where we're going to move into the second part of this and create a dummy load. So that's the little dummy load that we created from some components that Don had on hand that we wanted to supply with this. Because again, being able to test a cable, make sure that a cable appears to be good, would be a nice thing to be able to do. Plus, it was just kind of a fun little build project to do. So let's see how we put this together, and we'll bring you folks right back. All right, in this segment, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at the steps we went through to put together this relatively low-power dummy load. Now, you can buy all kinds of fancy dummy loads from any of your favorite radio stores and Amazon, and there's some nice and good-looking units out there, 100 watt, 200 watt, and even up to full power, 1500 watt, things like that. And this is something that our club is thinking about doing for a future hands-on event. We do hands-on events once a month, and we'll probably do a high-power one for that event, but it would be a somewhat similar process to what you're going to see here. So we had the 15-watt, 50-ohm resistor. We found the little heatsink that we could use with this, and we wanted to open up the hole. The resistor had a hole in it, but the largest piece of hardware screw that we could have in there was a number 2 screw, and that's very, very small. So we looked up on the drill charts, the equivalents, and for a number 4 screw, 4x40, and we drilled out the plastic basically on the resistor just a little bit, careful not to crack any of the main components, and then we also want to drill a hole into this little heat sink. And then you'll see that we're also going to tap it so that, again, the screw can screw into that. And, again, you'll see we're going to use some heatsink compound and some things. So no extreme skill sets or anything for this. It's a matter of having a few components. Now, Don, having been in the hobby and working as an electrician and things for a long time, he tends to have a lot of things on hand. We sort of call him our Radio Shack. Or even our lows in some instances, but these are pretty inexpensive components. If you were going to do something kind of similar to this, and there's, I'm sure, instructions online on how to do this. We just kind of went with what Don knows and what he had on hand. So drilled a hole in the heatsink. We're tapping it, so that it'll fit that number 4 screw, and you'll see us working to put this together. So this was the first parts of this. Of course, we want to have a little heatsink compound on there, and of course he had some on hand. So we opened up the hole in this this resistor, drilled an equivalent proper hole in the heatsink to match the hardware we wanted to use, which was going to be a number 4 screw, and going to put some heat sink compound, of course. Put these components together, and then you'll see here in again a few moments that we're going to solder the resistor to a connector, and of course you want to maintain the separation from the ground and the conductor, and you'll see that we do that. And so it's a pretty fun little project, either for a club to do or even for somebody to do potentially on your own. Again, I think I showed the specs on the resistor there. Just pause the video and you can get those numbers. There they are. You could write those down if you want to order that exact one. Again, it's a 15 watt, 50 ohm. But you can get 50 ohm, 100 watts and things like that. So you could make a high power one pretty easily with very similar techniques. So we found a piece of, I believe this was 12 gauge solid copper wire. We wanted to put this into the connector to give us some something to work with. The connectors are empty, and we're going to need to solder to this. So he's pre-tinning a piece of it. Of course, we're going to cut it to length in a little bit, but he's going to solder it in there, and then it'll give us some solder points on the back end of that as well. So there he's going to solder into the tip at the front, just kind of like you might normally do on a piece of coax or whatever. Of course, this is just a free-floating piece of wire, which he never really throws anything away because you never know when you're going to have little projects like this. So he's got little buckets of different sizes of wire and gauges of wire and stuff, because sooner or later he tends to find a use for bits and pieces like that, and you don't have to cut up off a nice fresh spool necessarily. So we got the copper put in there. Now we also want to put in some extra insulation just to make sure we don't interfere with anything or short anything out. So he's just getting some narrow gauge shrink tubing there that he'll put in inside of this. And then as you saw in the finished little sort of product picture that we showed, we also put some shrink tube on the whole, pretty much the whole of the exterior of the main components, just to make sure. Give them some protection, probably a little bit of strain relief and so forth. Remember, this is going to be for low power, so especially with the meter, it's not putting out hardly any power at all. So heat's not really going to be a major problem, but if you were testing something that was a little stronger, again, it is up to 15 watts. Shouldn't cause it any problems at all. So again, he's just getting prepared to be able to solder this onto the ground and the conductor of the connector, and just checking the fitment of everything, make sure it'll go back together once we've soldered the components in there. And as you'll see, we're just going to solder them to the conductor and solder them to the ground of the casing, and then we'll again eventually put some heat shrink and stuff on that. So there again, we put that solid core copper wire in there. I think it was 12 gauge, just to give us something to work with. So that's the back end, or what I would call sort of the back end of the unit. And he's just going to pre-tin that just to make the future soldering that we need to do on this easier, like we do with almost anything else. You tend to pre-tin things, put a little solder on there. So only took us a little while. On a recent morning, I went down to LCARA Worldwide Headquarters, and we worked on putting the rest of the kit together in the box and putting together this little dummy load. Didn't take a real long time. Almost anybody could do this, and taking your time and figuring a couple things out. But half a day, 3 or 4 hours, you could do this without any rush or anything like that. And again, kind of a fun little project. I know hams like to be pretty hands-on with this kind of stuff, and we do as well. So again, just getting the legs of the component ready to go there with a little tin, and we've got the copper center conductor there ready to go. So you can see it might be a little bit hard, but you can see one leg's going to the center conductor and one leg's going to go on the outside to the to the ground. So make sure we don't have anything shorted out, and of course we'll be testing everything once we get it closer to finished up. And again, this is going to be part of the kit that we're giving away for 5,000 subscribers. We liked this analyzer, the Comet, and we just kind of felt like it deserved a nice case. If any of us owned it, we'd want to put it in a case. And in fact, a lot of our members who do own different analyzers of different kinds, whether they're various forms of nano VNAs, whether they're other brands. Again, they tend to cost some of those a little bit of money, and you just want to help protect your investment and make sure that your unit's going to be usable for hopefully years to come. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to show some of these steps here. There's no particularly advanced skills or anything. Some pretty simple soldering, using some heat shrink. Use a drill, use a tap. You can get inexpensive taps from Harbor Freight and Amazon and other sources. So if you wanted to do something similar to this ought to give you a pretty good idea how you could put something like this together. The components are generally pretty inexpensive. I think the 50 ohm 100 watt versions of these components are about $13.50 or something, less than $14. So this one's, I'm sure, noticeably less than that. And some tiny little heat sinks and some stuff. So even if you're buying the components for a project like this, shouldn't really cost all that much. Again, you can buy various pre-made ones, and they're going to be pretty and some of that sort of, but they're going to cost a little bit of money because they bought components and they put the labor into it. Of course, that's how product manufacturing goes. So you can see we've got the inner and outer legs soldered in. He's just going to put a little more solder on that outer leg there, and really this thing is really it's about done. There's not a whole lot more that you would necessarily have to do. Again, we're just going to end up making it a little prettier with some heat shrink and also help protect it overall, just to make sure minor bumps and things shouldn't bother it. And that's mainly it. It's pretty much ready to go, ready to test right now. In fact, I think we're going to test it here in just a minute or two, and then we test it again after we put the heat shrink on, just to make sure that didn't introduce any possible problems to the scenario. So yeah, it was pretty much ready to go. So we just plugged it into the meter, and we're going to turn it on. Again, we have this power cord that we use for other meters and things. This meter comes with a power cord. I think it's all black. It's just got bare leads, but you could easily put some Anderson connectors on there if you like to connect to batteries and things, with Andersons like we do. But we left that up to, to whoever's going to win this, and that would be an easy procedure. So you can see right there, the SWR is excellent. Just about right there at 50 ohms, which is what the component's rated for. So we also just kind of wanted to show, so if you plug it into a cable, then you kind of can test some of the aspects of your cable to make sure that cable is good. Because if you have any number of problems with a cable, it should show up with potentially, very high SWR and things like that. So this is what we believe to be a known good cable. And so we just hooked it onto the end, plug it into the meter, and turn it on. And there we go. Sure enough, still showing 50 ohms and pretty much no SWR. So looks like that cable is good, and the little dummy load is working just fine. So yeah, just a nice little project, a nice little accessory for the kit that we are putting together for this giveaway. Again, we like this analyzer. A couple of our members have said, if they don't already have sort of similar analyzers from other companies, they might end up buying this one. Having that LCD component down there is kind of nice. And here you can see we're running that sweep function where it sweeps. You set the frequency and it'll start sweeping a little bit below that and go a little bit above that and graphs out the sweep. And of course you can see it's just flat all the way across. Just the cable's fine and the dummy load appears fine too. So that's, again, this little dummy load. We're going to put the heat shrink on it and stuff, but that's going to be part of the kit we're giving away so that you can use the meter to test cables. So we didn't have any blue heat shrink to put on this. It was big enough. I asked Don, and I knew I'd seen some blue heat shrink, but none of it was a big enough diameter. So just went with sort of a classic red heat shrink tubing to put on that, just again to protect it a little bit and because it's not going to get real hot or anything, really. It has the heat sink, but it's not really going to get that hot. It's all low power. But it'll help protect the components a little bit, and probably act as a little bit of strain relief once you shrink that down on there. So you'll see that going into the case here in a moment as well. So, we're very excited, again, very grateful for all the support everybody has given our channel, the growth that we've had since we started the channel. It's, it's fun to do, but it does take a little work. But we're trying to help share information with not only our own members, but just anybody else out in the ham community. And it seems like, a number of you folks have enjoyed that. And again, we appreciate that. So major milestones like this, I think almost any channel likes to have something like a giveaway like this. And we certainly wanted to as well. And again, we greatly appreciate the fact that Comet donated this meter, because it's not inexpensive. Very nice unit, so that we could do this giveaway. And we greatly appreciate that. So again, just double checking it after we put on the heat sink, just to make sure no problems got introduced to the component there. So everything still looks great. So we also wanted to put a little tag on this unit, just to remind whoever wins this of what its capabilities are. Right, it's not a high power one. It's 50 ohms, 15 watts. So put this little tag on there just to make sure. And then we just made a hole in the padding here for this little guy to slip into. The adapter case is in there. The unit analyzer unit itself will be in there. There's a little tester cable that came with the adapter set, and the analyzer has a power cable. Those are going to be in there. A little bit of paperwork that came with each of those. The batteries. And there's a little bit of room. You can see in that corner right there, that bottom right corner, there's a little bit of room. So whoever wins this, if there's something else you want to put in there, you've got still got a little bit of room to work with there. So that's pretty much it. We're going to begin wrapping this up. But there you can see almost everything in the case there. I think Don's about to put the batteries and stuff. You could get some battery holders for those batteries. We just left them in the packaging. And make a couple of little spots for the batteries to go with the battery holders or something. One of the things, with this kind of equipment, it's generally recommended you don't keep the batteries in there full time. So you might want to pull them out if you're not going to use it for a while. And that's pretty much it, folks. We'll wrap up this part and bring this video to a close. So we'll bring you folks right back. And just a reminder, folks, we're going to be giving away this entire kit, the Comet CAA-500 Mark II, the custom hard case, and the accessories you saw in the video very soon for our 5,000 subscriber landmark. So stay tuned to LCARA HAMRadio. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and look forward to a future video very soon discussing the specifics of the giveaway. That'll do it for now. This is Chris, KY4CKP, for Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio 73.